All right, viewers, let's take you to Japan now, where Prime Minister Narendra Modi is on the Japan's iconic bullet train. These are the visuals that we are getting for you from Japan. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is traveling to Sendai in Japan. These are the visuals that we have for you. He is meeting the delegates and also traveling to Sendai in Japan, in Japan's iconic bullet train, also known as Shinkansen. He is with his Japanese counterpart, Shigeru Ishiba, and he is understanding now the map of the iconic bullet train. He is understanding the dynamics of the bullet train very carefully. This certainly is India's push to strengthen partnerships in critical technologies. This is the bullet train, the Japan's iconic bullet train, and here you have Prime Minister Narendra Modi talking to his Japanese counterpart Shigeru Ishiba. They are traveling to Sendai, where Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be visiting a semiconductor factory in the Miyagi prefecture. And as we know about semiconductor, these are known as the brain of the modern electronics, and the future of electronics seems fade without the semiconductors. This is the importance of semiconductor. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is on a two-day visit to Japan, and today is the second and final day. After this, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will travel to China. And here you have on your screens, Prime Minister Narendra Modi is meeting his Japanese counterpart Shigeru Ishiba. He is now on board the Japan's iconic bullet train, also known as Shinkansen. Both leaders earlier also discussed the entire gamut of bilateral relations, and this visit of Prime Minister Narendra Modi will certainly boost the bilateral ties between both the countries. Earlier in the day, Prime Minister Narendra Modi also met with the governors of various prefectures of Japan, and 16 governors participated in the interaction. Prime Minister Narendra Modi emphasized that time had come to give a renewed push to state prefecture engagement, going beyond the ties centered around Tokyo and Delhi. On your screens, those who have just joined DD India, Prime Minister Narendra Modi is on a two-day visit to Japan, and today is the second and final day, and he's now on board the iconic bullet train of Japan with his Japanese counterpart Shigeru Ishiba, and also meeting other delegates as well. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is traveling to Sendai in Japan, and in the Miyagi prefecture, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be visiting a semiconductor factory. Semiconductors are very crucial when it comes to the modern technology, and like we've also mentioned earlier, that without semiconductors, the future technology seems fade. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is understanding very carefully the dynamics of bullet train, and certainly the visit by Prime Minister Narendra Modi to Japan will strengthen the ties between both the countries. Earlier, when he met Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba, both the leaders reviewed the entire gamut of bilateral relations, and both the nations chalked out roadmap to focus on areas like investment, innovation, environment, technology, health, mobility, people-to-people exchanges, and state-prefecture partnerships. Earlier in the day, Prime Minister Narendra Modi met with the governors of various prefectures of Japan, and 16 governors participated in the interaction. This visit will certainly give a boost to the bilateral ties between both the countries. Japan, in fact, has also promised to invest 10 trillion yen over the next decade in India. That certainly will boost various sectors in the country. And other areas that both the leaders discussed include the Economic Security Cooperation Initiative, cooperation in technology and digital partnership, and AI as well. Artificial intelligence in today's world holds a very pivotal place, and if used in a constructive manner, it can create wonders that we all know. And in fact, Prime Minister Narendra Modi on your screens is on board the Japan's iconic bullet train, also known as Shinkansen. He is traveling to Sendai in Japan, and where he will visit their semiconductor factory. He is with his Japanese counterpart, Shigeru Ishiba. The visit by Prime Minister Narendra Modi to Japan will certainly prove to be an upward trajectory when it comes to relations between both the countries. We also mentioned that earlier when Prime Minister Narendra Modi met his Japanese counterpart, both leaders agreed to strengthen the India-Japan special strategic and global partnership. Here you have on your screens Prime Minister Narendra Modi very carefully understanding the dynamics of bullet train, because very soon in India, the country will witness bullet train, and that will be a proud moment. Japan has pledged to invest 10 trillion yen over the next decade. Here you have on your screens Prime Minister Narendra Modi going to Sendai in Japan. He will be visiting a semiconductor factory. Semiconductor is a very pivotal technology used in the electronics. In fact, it's called the brain of modern technology. This is a very crucial visit by Prime Minister Narendra Modi to Japan, which will give a boost to the bilateral ties between both the countries. Both leaders earlier discussed the entire gamut of relationships and also chalked out a roadmap to focus on areas like investment, environment, technology, health mobility, people-to-people exchanges, and state-prefecture partnerships. The focus, in fact, is also on clean energy, which India is giving a major push to, keeping in mind the climate change and its impact all around the globe. The world today is looking at India for partnerships. The world is looking at India for trade, and the popularity of Prime Minister Narendra Modi is quite evident. And it's also seen whenever he goes to any country, any region, any continent. We also saw yesterday Prime Minister Narendra Modi meeting the Indian diaspora, and how excited were they, we all heard. And these are the visuals on your screens. Prime Minister Narendra Modi meeting on board the Japan's iconic bullet train with his Japanese counterpart Shigeru Ishiba. Very soon we will witness the bullet train, this iconic bullet train in India as well. And he will be visiting the semiconductor factory in Miyagi Prefecture there in Sendai. Semiconductor is very critical when we talk about the modern technologies, when we talk about modern electronics. Without semiconductor, we cannot even imagine the modern electronics. Such is the importance of semiconductor. Here you have on your screens Prime Minister Narendra Modi with his Japanese counterpart Shigeru Ishiba, and understanding the dynamics very, very carefully of the bullet train, because as soon we will see the bullet train in India. This is a very crucial, very important and very pivotal visit by Prime Minister Narendra Modi to Japan. From here on, he will go to China to attend the SCO summit, and today is the second and final day of Prime Minister's visit to Japan. It has been a really productive, a really prolific visit by the Prime Minister, wherein certain key agreements were also signed. And both leaders, when they met yesterday, they discussed the entire gamut of the bilateral relations, and which also included people-to-people exchanges, also included innovation, also included investment. And there are some other areas that were also discussed, which include the Economic Security Cooperation Initiative, cooperation in technology, digital partnership and AI, and also cooperation in security and space. Space is a very crucial sector, and India is on the path to lead that sector, to champion that sector, in fact, with certain collaborations. We have just seen a recent collaboration between ISRO and NASA to build a satellite called NISAR, and this is one-of-a-kind satellite which went in the space. This is an Earth observing satellite which will track even a minute change on the Earth's surface, which will help farmers and many other sectors as well. It will also help in the disaster management. So the collaborations with India's space agency to different space agencies is a shining example of the fact that how India is championing the space sector. We are also proud of Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla, who became the first person to go to the International Space Station and the second Indian to go in space after Rakesh Sharma. Few days back, it was his homecoming and the entire country welcomed him. These are the visuals that you have on your screens. Prime Minister Narendra Modi with his Japanese counterpart Shigeru Ishiba. He's understanding how it works, what are the dynamics of bullet train, because soon we'll be having a bullet train in our own country. Japan has also pledged to invest $10 trillion yen over the next decade in India. When both countries met earlier, they discussed various sectors, in fact the entire gamut of bilateral relations. He's right now talking to Shigeru Ishiba, his Japanese counterpart. And this visit by Prime Minister Narendra Modi has certainly proved prolific in terms of trade between both the countries, in terms of the relation, in terms of strengthening ties between both the countries. And now he will be visiting a semiconductor factory there in the Miyagi prefecture in Sendai, where he's traveling with his Japanese counterpart. And semiconductor holds a pivotal place when it comes to modern electronics. Without it, we cannot even imagine how electronics would work. A very crucial visit, certainly by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. And semiconductor, we know it's a brain of modern electronics. So this visit will certainly strengthen India's push and also India's push to strengthen partnerships, especially in critical technologies. This is a very, very crucial visit by Prime Minister Narendra Modi to Japan. And on your screens are the visuals that we are getting from. This is the iconic bullet train of Japan, also known in fact as Shinkansen. He's now talking to his Japanese counterpart Shigeru Ishiba. Earlier, both the leaders discussed the entire gamut of bilateral relations, discussed various sectors, including the artificial intelligence, which is also leading the global world in today's time. And if used in a constructive manner, it is proving prolific, and it will be proved prolific in various sectors, helping in various sectors. But there has to be a constructive use of the artificial intelligence. This is something India is emphasizing on, the constructive use of the artificial intelligence, because we have seen that there are some negative use of artificial intelligence as well, which is somewhere proving the destructive. But India's push in the artificial technologies, the constructive use of it, is actually making it special. All right, we also have DD India's Arun Sharma, who is joining us from Sendai on phone line. Hi Arun, Prime Minister Narendra Modi's second and final day in Japan. This partnership is really, really crucial. Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit has certainly given a fillip when it comes to the ties between both the countries. Right now, he's in Sendai. What can we expect? And he will be also visiting the semiconductor factory in Miyagi Prefecture. Arun, semiconductor, as we know, is very crucial and also known as the brain of modern electronics. What can we expect?
Well, what to expect as far as the India-Japan relationships are concerned. And knowing the fact now, we have seen that how Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, along with the Japanese leadership, he traveled via the Hayabusa, the bullet train, primarily the Shinkansen. Yeah. And he traveled from Tokyo to Sendai. Now, primarily, yes, the last or big highlight of this the second day of the visit is going to be the visit at the semiconductor factory over here in Sendai. Now, we know this fact that Japan has made a massive investment plan to, and it is aiming to facilitate a 10 trillion yen, which is approximately $68 billion of private investment in India over next 1 decade. Now, this is going to be very much crucial as far as various sectors are concerned. But primarily, you look at it this way, that even yesterday, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi said this point that Japanese technology, or the technology of Japan, and the talent of India, when they both combine together, we can expect exciting things going forward. So yes, the Indian talent along with the Japanese technology can do wonders. And in that context, the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to the semiconductor factory today is going to be very much significant. And also for the fact that the massive 10 trillion yen investment on the Japanese side is going to play a significant role as far as India's Make in India initiative is concerned.
Okay, Arun. We'll get back to you, but we leave it there as of now. Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to Japan has added fresh momentum to diverse areas of cooperation between the two nations. Day 2 is high on technology quotient. PM Modi and his Japanese counterpart Shigeru Ishiba will witness a semiconductor manufacturing facility in Miyagi Prefecture. DD India correspondent Shubhendu Ghosh explains the importance of technology partnership between two Asian giants.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to Japan has added fresh momentum to diverse areas of cooperation between the two nations. Day 2 is high on technology quotient. Prime Minister Modi and his Japanese counterpart Shigeru Ishiba will witness a semiconductor manufacturing facility. Semiconductors are the essential building blocks of modern electronics, acting as the hidden brains that make devices work. The India-Japan partnership has tremendous potential to offer the world reliable and credible alternatives to global supply chains of critical technologies. Earlier on Friday, addressing the India-Japan Economic Forum, Prime Minister hailed the partnership between the two nations in critical tech like semiconductors.
जापान टेक पावरहाउस है और भारत एक टैलेंट पावर हाउस है। भारत ने एआई, सेमीकंडक्टर, क्वांटम कंप्यूटिंग, बायोटेक और स्पेस में बोल्ड और एम्बिशियस इनिशिएटिव लिए हैं। जापान की टेक्नोलॉजी और भारत का टैलेंट मिलकर इस सदी के टेक रिवॉल्यूशन का नेतृत्व कर सकते हैं।
In 2021, the Indian government approved Semiconductor Mission with a 76,000 crore outlay. From 2023 to 2025, rapid setup of major facilities by domestic and foreign firms with significant investments. India-Japan Semiconductor Supply Chain Partnership started in 2023. Japan holds significant global market share of around 30% in semiconductor manufacturing equipment. Japan occupies about 50% of the market share in semiconductor materials. Establishment of a semiconductor OSAT in Sanand, Gujarat by the Japanese semiconductor firm Renaissance Electronics. Tokyo Electron and Tata Electronics have launched a strategic partnership to establish a semiconductor ecosystem in India. Japan introduced the world to the concept of new high-speed railways in 1964 and continues to be a global leader, pushing the boundaries of speed, capacity and safety on its Shinkansen lines. India's first bullet train project is the Mumbai-Ahmedabad high-speed rail corridor, a 508-kilometer route connecting two major cities with technical and financial assistance from Japan using Shinkansen train technology. The project is currently under construction, with the Gujarat portion expected to be completed by late 2027 and the entire corridor by late 2029. In the spirit of strategic partnership between India and Japan, the new generation E10 Shinkansen train will be introduced simultaneously in India and Japan. The bullet train project in many ways symbolizes the core values of India-Japan relations, values of trust, speed and innovation. Shubhendu Ghosh's report, DD India, Tokyo.
Taking greater strides in the steadfast India-Japan ties, Prime Minister Narendra Modi met with the governors of 16 prefectures in Tokyo on Saturday. Prime Minister Modi highlighted the potential of states-prefectures collaboration. PM Modi urged action under the State Prefecture Partnership Initiative launched during 15th India-Japan Annual Summit for Shared Progress. The discussions focused on ways to further deepen the growing partnerships between Indian states and Japanese prefectures in the fields of technology, innovation, investment, skills, startups and SMEs. All right, let's take you across to Sendai now. And in the Miyagi Prefecture, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has arrived in the Sendai, Miyagi Prefecture, and is also receiving a warm welcome by the Japanese people. That goes on to show the popularity of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. He is waving at the Japanese crowd, and they are waving back at him. They are so excited. These are the visuals that we are getting for you from Sendai. Prime Minister shaking hands with kids in Japan. His love for kids, as we all know, is very much, and he's now meeting the Japanese people there in Sendai.
Thank you.
Welcome to Japan. Welcome to Japan.
Getting for you from Sendai, where Prime Minister Narendra Modi is meeting Japanese people. He is waving at them, and they are waving back at Prime Minister Narendra Modi. They are saying, PM Modi, welcome to Japan. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is also shaking hands with the kids there. As we all know, Prime Minister Narendra Modi's love for kids is something we cannot measure in words. And he is also shaking hands with the Japanese people there. And this certainly goes on to show the popularity, in fact, the global popularity of Prime Minister Narendra Modi wherever he goes, be it Indian diaspora or be it people of that particular region. They are always eager to meet Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and such is the popularity of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Under his visionary leadership, India has taken giant strides in many sectors, and with the vision of Vikasit Bharat 2047, India will be a developed nation. And under Atmanirbhar Bharat, which India is continuously pushing for, is certainly benefiting India from an importer. Now India is on path to become exporter in various sectors, be defense sector, which also got a fillip in its production few days back. And these are the visuals that we are showing you from Sendai, where Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be visiting a semiconductor factory in the Miyagi Prefecture. And here he's meeting the Japanese people. And look at the excitement on their faces. They are smiling and saying, PM Modi, welcome to Japan. He's shaking hands with kids right now on your screens. Such is the popularity of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. It clearly defines the popularity of the Indian Prime Minister. A special yoga session was organized on Saturday at the observation deck of the iconic Skytree in Tokyo. The session took place in honor of Prime Minister Modi's Japan visit. At over 600 meters, Skytree is said to be the tallest broadcasting tower in the world. Earlier on Friday evening, the iconic Skytree Tower was lit in the colors of India's tricolour to honor PM Modi's visit and the India-Japan friendship. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned to DD India. We'll be right after. We'll come back after a short break. You're watching DD News Hour. I'm Prasar Bharati. A divided U.S. appeals court ruled on Friday that most of Donald Trump's tariffs are illegal, undercutting the Republican president's use of the levies as a key international economic policy tool. The court allowed the tariffs to remain in place through October 14 to give the Trump administration a chance to file an appeal with the U.S. Supreme Court. Trump has made tariffs a pillar of U.S. foreign policy in his second term, using them to exert political pressure and renegotiate trade deals with countries that export goods to the United States. The tariffs have given the Trump administration leverage to extract economic concessions from trading partners, but have also increased volatility in financial markets. The U.S. court said that the statute bestows significant authority on the president to undertake a number of actions in response to a declared national emergency, but none of these actions explicitly include the power to impose tariffs, duties or the like, or the power to tax. Earlier, U.S. appeals court has ruled that most of President Trump's global tariffs were illegal, stating he exceeded his authority under emergency powers. Now, the U.S. President Trump has responded, calling the ruling incorrect and asserting that all tariffs remain in effect. He warned that lifting them would harm American workers and manufacturers and pledged to defend his trade policies as essential to national strength. Another blow to Trump administration. A federal appeals court blocked the Trump administration's effort to end temporary protected status for hundreds of thousands of Venezuelans living in the United States. A three-judge panel of 9th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals unanimously upheld a lower court ruling that maintained a temporary protected status for Venezuelans, while TPS holders challenge actions by Trump's administration in court. A further appeal by the administration is likely. A spokesperson for the U.S. Department of Homeland Security in a statement said that ruling delays justice and undermines the integrity of our immigration system. Temporary protected status is available to people whose home country has experienced a natural disaster, armed conflict or other extraordinary event. It provides eligible migrants with work authorization and temporary protection from deportation. Tensions between the United States and Venezuela are rising amid a large U.S. naval buildup in the southern Caribbean and nearby waters to combat threats from Latin American drug cartels. The United States has deployed 3 Aegis-guided missile destroyers and several other warships to the waters near Venezuela to counter maritime narcotics trafficking. U.S. President Donald Trump has made curbing drug flows into the United States an administration priority. 7 U.S. warships, along with 1 nuclear-powered fast-attack submarine, are either in the region or are expected to be there soon, bringing along more than 4,500 sailors and Marines. Deputy White House Chief of Staff Stephen Miller on Friday said the military buildup was aimed to combat and dismantle drug trafficking organizations, criminal cartels, and these foreign terrorist organizations in our hemisphere. Meanwhile, in Venezuela, hundreds gathered in Caracas on Friday to join the Bolivarian National Militia after President Nicolas Maduro's recruitment call. This is the second phase of enlistment events taking place in the South American country since the tension began. The recruitment process kicked off last week. Colombian soldiers and armored vehicles were deployed across key checkpoints along the Venezuelan border following President Gustavo Petro's directive to intensify military presence in the troubled Catatumbo region. The move announced via Petro's X account and aims to reduce the mafia's forces as much as possible, with 25,000 troops now stationed in the area. The move comes amid rising geopolitical tensions, including a significant U.S. naval buildup in the southern Caribbean, which Washington says targets Latin American drug cartels. Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro praised Petro's initiative and announced his own deployment of 15,000 troops to border states. Argentine police carried out high-profile raids on Friday at the offices of the National Disability Agency and pharmaceutical firm Suizo Argentina as part of a widening corruption investigation involving President Javier Milei's influential sister. The probe centers on allegations that Karina Milei received a 3% commission on payments made by Andes for medicine purchases from Suizo Argentina. The claims surfaced through leaked audio recordings reportedly featuring former agency head Diego Spanuolo, who was dismissed after the tapes became public. Kyiv is engaged in a diplomatic push to try and bring to an end Russia's conflict, now in its fourth year, and to secure critical commitments from its partners to fend off any future invasion. President Volodymyr Zelensky urged allies on Friday to swiftly elevate talks on security guarantees for Ukraine to the level of leaders. Ukrainian leader was speaking at the official opening ceremony of the National Military Memorial Cemetery on Friday. The Ukrainian president said he expected to continue talks with European leaders next week on commitments to protect Ukraine, adding that US President Donald Trump should also be involved.
What we want is these security guarantees from key European countries and the United States. Were supported by the European parliaments and the US Congress. Yes, we want legally binding security guarantees. We do not want another Budapest Memorandum or the Minsk agreements. Regarding the security guarantees, we are organizing the European track next week so that everyone understands clearly the architecture. Then, during a meeting next week, we want to connect with President Trump and tell him how we see it.
Zelensky also raised Trump's self-imposed deadline for deciding on new measures against Russia if President Vladimir Putin fails to commit to a one-on-one meeting with the Ukrainian leader. Ukrainian officials say Russia, which has continued attacking cities with missiles and drones and is pressing a battlefield offensive, has no interest in seeking peace. Later, Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky's chief of staff, Andriy Yermak, has also held a meeting with U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff to discuss a need for pressure on Moscow to bring peace closer. France and Germany on Friday vowed to step up pressure on Russia over its war against Ukraine, threatening further sanctions if President Vladimir Putin failed to turn up for talks with Ukraine's leader. French President Emmanuel Macron pledges continued push for tougher measures on Russia. German Chancellor Friedrich Merz said that the war in Ukraine could still last for many months, but Kiev's supporters are ready to continue their aid. Merz said that it seems clear there will be no meeting between Russian President Vladimir Putin and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky.
The coming days will be decisive, marking the end of the period agreed upon with President Trump and President Zelensky to secure initial meetings, and we will continue to exert pressure for additional sanctions to be adopted by ourselves, and we are ready for that, but also by the United States of America in order to force Russia back to the negotiating table, while at the same time maintaining our support. War may last for many more months. We should be prepared for that. We are prepared to act in close coordination with the European partners, with the Americans, and also with the coalition of the willing. Emmanuel Macron has pointed out that there are 30 countries worldwide that are ready to help Ukraine and are doing so very practically. Keeping this coalition of the willing together is one of our urgent tasks. I want to say it once again.
On the eve of a visit to China, Russian President Vladimir Putin blasted Western sanctions as his country's economy teetered on the brink of recession, wounded by trade curbs and the cost of his war in Ukraine. Russia and China jointly opposed discriminatory sanctions and global trade, Putin said in a written interview with China's official Xinhua news agency published on Saturday. Putin will be in China, Russia's biggest trading partner, from Sunday to Wednesday in a 4-day visit that the Kremlin has called unprecedented. Putin will first attend the 2-day summit of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization in Tianjin. The security-focused SCO, founded by a group of Eurasian nations in 2001, has expanded to 10 permanent members that now include Iran and India. Putin will then travel to Beijing to hold talks with Chinese President Xi Jinping and attend a massive military parade in the Chinese capital commemorating the end of World War II after Japan's formal surrender. And short break, more news on the other side. Stay tuned. Welcome back. You're watching DD Indian News Hour. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj, and a quick recap of the headlines. Prime Minister Modi begins second day of his visit to Japan, arrives Sendai in Miyagi Prefecture on bullet train with Japanese PM Ishiba to visit a semiconductor factory. Tokyo summit marks deepening India-Japan ties with joint declarations on defense tech and sustainability. Trump's trade strategy deemed illegal by a U.S. appeals court allows the tariffs until October. Anticipating U.S. Supreme Court appeal, Attorney General says Trump administration will appeal. France and Germany call for more pressure on Russia amid Putin's reluctance to meet Zelensky. Zelensky urges leader-level security guarantees for Ukraine with U.S. involvement. And in sports, India's Satvik and Chirag reached the men's doubles semi-finals of the Badminton World Championships in Paris. Sindhu loses in quarter-final. India's Law and Justice Minister Arjun Ram Meghwal has said that India is steadily positioning itself as a global hub for arbitration with a focus on establishing a network of arbitral institutions. Meghwal was addressing the first meeting of the India-Singapore Joint Consultative Committee established under the MOU on cooperation in law and dispute resolution in Singapore on Friday. Speaking on the occasion, the Law Minister highlighted that the MOU reflects the shared resolve of both nations to deepen institutional cooperation in the fields of arbitration and mediation. He noted that alternative dispute resolution has become central to India's legal reform journey. During the meeting, both sides also shared best practices from their jurisdictions in the areas of institutional arbitration, mediation and commercial dispute resolution through courts. On to weather news now. Heavy rain is expected across many parts of India throughout the day. Coastal areas of Gujarat, Maharashtra, Kerala, Karnataka are likely to receive heavy rainfall. Among the northern Indian states, hilly regions of Himachal Pradesh and Uttarakhand are likely to see strong showers, with some areas facing very heavy rainfall. Delhi and surrounding regions will stay cloudy with light to moderate rain. Coastal areas may experience strong winds and waterlogging. People in flood-prone zones should stay alert. The monsoon remains active, and the IMD has issued warnings for several regions to prepare for possible disruptions. Floods triggered by heavy rainfall have thrown road connectivity out of gear in Jammu and Kashmir, with Poonch and Doda districts facing the brunt. Major routes, including the Jammu-Srinagar National Highway or NH44, have been damaged, bringing traffic to a halt. In Poonch, traffic carrying essential commodities through the Mughal Road has been suspended as NH44 from Udhampur to Srinagar remained closed on Friday. This closure followed the washing away of up and down tubes on the highway in the Samroli area due to heavy rainfall. As per the officials, the restoration work is underway. A sudden cloudburst struck the Ramban district of Jammu and Kashmir early Saturday, leaving at least 3 people dead and 2 others missing. Rescue teams have been rushed to the affected area and operations are underway to trace the missing persons. India's Union Minister Dr. Jitendra Singh, in a post on social media platform X, expressed condolences over the tragedy and emphasized that rescue operations are underway, assuring all necessary assistance is being extended. Meanwhile, Sri Mata Vaishno Devi pilgrimage remains suspended for the 5th consecutive day following landslides triggered by incessant rainfall in the area. In Uttarakhand, the water level of rivers is on the rise due to continuous rainfall. The State Emergency Operations Centre in Dehradun advised the district magistrates to take precautions to prevent any tragedy. Uttarakhand Police also issued advisories for the Chamoli and Rudraprayag districts as continuous heavy rainfall in the state has led to a dangerous rise in water levels in local rivers, including those in Chamoli and Rudraprayag districts, prompting evacuations for residents living near riverbanks. Chamoli police have alerted that river water levels have reached critical heights and have strongly urged residents living along the river banks to move to safer locations immediately. In Rudraprayag, water levels of the Alaknanda and Mandakini rivers increased significantly. Police and administration teams are actively informing the public to stay away from river banks and move to secure areas to avoid flood-related danger. The Indian Air Force has intensified flood relief operations across northern Punjab and Jammu. Mi-17 and Chinook helicopters have conducted more than 55 sorties to extract stranded civilians, including personnel from the Indian Army and Border Security Force, from inundated areas in Dera Baba, Nanak, Pathankot and Akhnoor sectors. Transport aircraft C-130 have also been deployed to facilitate the rapid movement of specialized NDRF teams into the affected zones. The operations have enabled the rescue of 215 individuals and delivered over 7,000 kilograms of essential relief material in the affected areas in the past 3 days. The Defence Ministry said current efforts are concentrated in northern Punjab, where the situation remains most critical due to continuing high water levels, which have hampered surface connectivity. Relief missions are being executed in close coordination with the Indian Army, Border Security Force, National Disaster Response Force and local administration to ensure timely evacuation and distribution of supplies. India's Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal on Friday addressed 17th CII Global MedTech Summit and also the valedictory session of the 20th CII India-Africa Business Conclave. Minister Goyal said that PLI scheme is a critical tool to boost domestic manufacturing. He highlighted the importance of free trade agreements with various countries, which will open up new opportunities and new markets. The minister said that India was also talking to the US for a bilateral trade treaty. Fuzail Ahmed reports.
India's Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal on Friday urged industry to have bold goals for growth and to meet the aspirations of a vibrant India. Addressing the 17th CII Global MedTech Summit, the minister also spoke about trade agreement talks with various countries.
A government which is working with the advanced countries, with developed economies, to have better trading options, free trade agreements. We've already concluded Mauritius, Australia, UAE, UK. The 4-block EFTA will come into effect on 1st October, 1 month away. We are working with the European Union on overdrive. We are working with Eurasia, a bloc of many nations. Oman FTA should get sorted out in the next few weeks. Yesterday, the Qatar minister told me they want to start negotiations. Chile and Peru are going on. Of course, we are also talking to the US for a bilateral trade agreement.
In his address, Minister Piyush Goyal stated that India needs to secure supply chains and build for export markets. The minister urged the industry to invest heavily in domestic manufacturing and R&D to produce the next generation of medical devices in India. Minister Goyal noted that negotiations for a comprehensive free trade agreement with the EU, Mauritius, Oman, UAE, Peru and Chile are in advanced stages. Minister Goyal also said that India is talking to the United States for a bilateral trade treaty. Minister Goyal said that the PLI scheme is a critical tool to boost domestic manufacturing of high-value medical devices and reduce reliance on imports. Piyush Goyal also addressed the 20th edition of the CII India-Africa Business Conclave in New Delhi.
Sectors of cooperation like agriculture, food security, manufacturing and industrialization, the cooperative movement or self-help group movement, the potential to work with each other on education, skill development, capacity building, in terms of research and development, innovation, the startup ecosystem, capacity building in healthcare, pharmaceuticals, renewable energy, some of which our honorable ministers alluded to, provides such a wide spectrum of opportunities for mutual benefit.
Calling the Global South the true voice of the developing world, Piyush Goyal urged African countries to work with India at multilateral platforms like the WTO to create common objectives and influence global decision-making. Fuzail Ahmed's report for DD India.
Stay tuned, we'll be right back after a short break.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked. We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. And a court hearing on President Donald Trump's attempt to fire Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook ended on Friday with no immediate ruling on the unprecedented legal fight, meaning the U.S. Central Bank policymaker will remain in place for now. After hearing oral arguments for 2 hours in a court in Washington, D.C., U.S. District Judge Gia Cobb asked Cook's lawyers to file a brief on Tuesday, laying out in more detail their arguments for why the ouster was unlawful. The case, which will likely end up before the U.S. Supreme Court, has ramifications for the Fed's ability to set interest rate policy without regard to politicians' wishes, widely seen as critical to any central bank's ability to keep inflation under control. The Fed has said it would abide by any court decision. It has given no indication that Cook's status as a member of its board of governors has changed, and she remains listed on its website as an active member of several internal committees. India's index of industrial production recorded a year-on-year growth of 3.5% in July 2025. According to official data, this was driven by 5.4% growth in manufacturing sector. Within the manufacturing sector, 14 of 23 industry groups at National Industrial Classification 2-digit level have recorded a positive growth in July 2025 or July 2024. The quick estimates of IIP stands at 155.0 against 149.8 in July 2024. In the industry group, HR coils and sheets of mild steel and flat products of alloy steel have shown significant contribution in growth. Based on use-based classification, top 3 positive contributors to the growth of IIP are infrastructure, construction goods, intermediate goods and consumer durables. According to data released by Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation, India's real GDP grew 7.8% in the first quarter of financial year 2025-26 compared to the 6.5% growth during Q1 of FY 2024-25. Nominal GDP has witnessed a growth of 8.8% in quarter 1 of FY 2025-26. Agriculture and allied sector has observed the real gross value added growth of 3.7% as compared to the growth rate of 1.5% registered in quarter 1 of last financial year. Manufacturing and construction sectors registered above 7.5% growth. Tertiary sector recorded 9.3% growth at constant prices compared to 6.8% in Q1 of FY 2024-25. Government final consumption expenditure registered 9.7% growth in nominal terms over the growth rate of 4% in quarter 1 of FY 2024-25. Gross fixed capital formation recorded 7.8% growth at constant prices compared to 6.7% in quarter 1 of FY 2024-25. You're watching DD India News. Our time now for sport. And India's top men's doubles pair, Satvik Sairaj Rankireddy and Chirag Shetty, exacted sweet revenge on Friday by defeating Malaysia's Aaron Chia and Wee Yik So 21-12, 21-19 was the scoreline in the quarterfinals of the BWF World Championships in Paris. The win avenges their loss to the same duo at the Paris Olympics quarterfinals. The victory guarantees Ranki Reddy and Shetty a medal, their second at the World Championships. They previously clinched bronze at the 2022 edition in Tokyo, where they were ironically ousted by the same Malaysian pair in the semi-finals. With this result now, India's streak of winning at least one medal at every BWF World Championship since 2011 continues unbroken. Satvik and Chirag will now take on world number 11 Li Yu and Bo Yang Chen of China in their semi-final on Saturday. Indian athlete Neeraj Chopra had to settle for a second place in javelin at the Diamond League final in Zurich, finishing runner-up for the third straight year. Germany's Julian Weber stole the spotlight with a dominant show to clinch his maiden Diamond League trophy. India has officially submitted its proposal to host the 2030 Commonwealth Games, marking a significant step in its ambition to bring the multi-sport event back to the country after 2 decades. The formal bid was submitted to the President of the Commonwealth Games Federation, Dr. Donald Rukare, by a delegation with representation from the Commonwealth Games Association of India and the Government of Gujarat in London on Friday. The bid positions Ahmedabad as the host city for the centenary edition of the Games, marking 100 years of the Commonwealth Games. Indian Olympic Association President P.T. Usha said this bid represents the aspirations of an entire nation. The Commonwealth Games in Ahmedabad will showcase not just India's sporting capabilities, but also the values of friendship, respect and inclusivity that define our sporting culture. Paul Fitzgerald, the head of World Para-Athletics, said that India's investment in the Mondo track is a significant step towards empowering its athletes. In an exclusive conversation with DD India's Narayan Singh, he praised Indian para-athletes for their remarkable performances on the international stage.
National Sports Day Union Sports Minister Mansukh Mandavia inaugurated the new Mondo Turf at the JLN, and next month we will see the Para-Athletic World Championship will take place here. And right now I am joined by the head of the World Athletics, Paul Fitzgerald. Paul, a very warm welcome to India. And today is the National Sports Day, and a Mondo track has been unveiled here at the JLN Stadium. And next month we will see the coveted Para World Athletic Championship. So, what's your take on this track, considering that next month we will see a mega event here?
I look at this track as a fantastic investment that India has made in their athletes, not just the athletes of this generation, but the athletes who will be inspired in the next generation to see the performances that happen next month.
What's your take on the Indian para-athletics and para-athletics players?
Para-athletics is growing. The results in the past Asian Para Games and the Paralympic Games and World Championships has seen an explosion of success for Indian athletes. And this is a fantastic opportunity to have them compete on home soil here in New Delhi, to be able to show the world how incredible the investment that India has put into them and the work that they put in to inspire their fellow athletes, to represent India and make an amazing show for all of those who come to the stadium and watch on television.
If we talk about the viewership and the TRPs, even the para-athletics athletes are also equivalent in popularity to the able-bodied athletes, and also if you take viewership is also equivalent to that. So what's the reason you find that the para-athletics is also coming equal in terms to the able-bodied athletes?
Exposure. The number one reason is that people need to know it exists, they need to tune in, they need to watch, and they will see for themselves how incredible these athletes are. The speed, strength, and skill will be very familiar to them. If you like watching Indian athletics, you will absolutely love Indian para-athletics, because the same speed, strength, and skill are there, but there's something extra. There's a story behind every one of these athletes, and that's what's amazing, is each one of them can tell a story that will inspire you.
So you are here in India. What do you like most about India?
Oh, obviously the welcoming people. So it's been fantastic to be able to meet people. I believe that the world of sport has an amazing way of connecting people. And if we can connect together as a community, we can be stronger together. But of course, I also am putting on a few kilos as well, because I love eating the food.
So definitely Paul is saying that he loves Indian foods, and also he mentioned about that the Mondo track, what a big investment is for the not only the current athletes but also the athletes of the future generation. Hoping that all these investments will help India to grow in the world of sports and to be the next superpower in the world of sports. With camera person Saurav, Narayan Singh, DD India, Delhi.
That's all for this edition of DD India News Hour, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms, and you can scan the QR code on your screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India News Hour.